And we'll sit really tall through your spine with your eyes closed and your hands resting on your lap. And we'll begin today's practice with a little bit of mindful breathing. So just inhaling and exhaling without pushing the air in or forcing the air out, but just trying to observe how the air is coming into your body and what happens to the physicality of the breath when you exhale. See if you can notice the quality of the air as it comes into your body. And see if you can observe the sounds that your body makes while you're breathing. It's in the process of bringing your attention to all of these little things, so something as normal as breathing, that you bring your mind into your body's time, which is always in the present. Inhaling a little bit deeper so your spine gets a little bit taller, and then as you exhale, tuck your belly button in towards your spine and up to your heart, so you begin to use more of your lungs and your torso with your breath. Just kind of observing how that changes the breathing. And we'll begin linking movement with breath, so inhaling, reaching both hands up over your head. And then exhale, fingertips out to the sides, metering your breath until your lungs are empty and your fingers find the floor, and then pushing out all the air at the bottom. Once you're fully empty, inhale, raising both hands back up towards the ceiling, sipping in a little bit of air at the top. And then exhale, fingertips out to the sides, metering your breath until your lungs are empty, pushing out all the air at the bottom. One more time, inhaling, raising both hands up. And then exhale, folding over at the waist, down into an easy forward fold. Walking your fingertips out in front of you and letting your forehead drop down towards the floor. Taking a deep breath and noticing where the breath goes when there's no room for your belly to expand. Slowly walking both hands over to the left side, just about as far as feels comfortable. So you feel that little stretch through your right side body. Taking a deep breath, long exhale, letting your heart soften over your left thigh. Whenever you're ready, slowly walking both hands over to the right side. Again, just about as far as feels okay through your hips and lower back, and taking a deep breath, long exhale, just letting your upper body be as heavy as can be. Last time, bring both hands back to center, maybe walking your hands out a little bit further than they were the first time, and letting your forehead come down a little bit closer towards the mat. If you still have any thoughts that are hanging out in that brain of yours, you can just kind of drop them down on the mat and pick them up later if they're really important. If not, you can just leave them there. Slowly using the floor to push yourself all the way back up. We'll transition on the hands and knees on the mat. And with your fingertips spread wide under your shoulders and your knees directly under your hips, we're going to come into cat and cow. So inhaling to look up, dropping your belly down to the floor, and then exhale, curving your spine up towards the ceiling. And moving at your own breath here, so you don't have to follow my cues. Just as long as you're inhaling to look up, and then exhaling to make that big curve in your spine. And see if you can visualize the muscles along your spine, contracting and stretching. See if you can visualize each vertebrae sliding over the other one. We'll take one or two more passes up and down. And we'll meet in a nice neutral spine. And pushing your heart away from the floor, so your core is active and engaged, tucking your belly button in towards your spine. You're going to reach your right arm out in front of you, and push your left heel straight back away from you. Take in a deep breath, and then on the exhale, connect elbow to knee under your body. And then inhale to extend. Exhale to connect. Inhale to extend. One more time making the connection. One more time extending out. and coming back down onto all fours. And doing the same thing on the other side, reaching your left arm out in front of you, pushing your right heel straight back away from you with your belly button tightened to your spine, taking a deep breath, and then on the exhale, connect elbow to knee. Inhale to extend. Exhale to connect. Inhale to extend. One more time making the connection. One more time extending out and coming back down onto all fours. Here we're going to raise your right arm up towards the ceiling, rolling through the shoulder blades, so your right scapula kind of tucks back down towards your left and your heart can look up towards the ceiling. Taking a deep breath, and then on the exhale, we're going to thread your right arm underneath your left to bring your right ear down towards the floor. And creating a good amount of space between your ear and your shoulder blade, we're just going to give a little rock side to side with your hips. As we kind of stretch out the muscles along your neck and shoulder. And as you exhale, you just kind of let your upper body soften a little bit more into the floor. Hold here for 2 more breaths. Then pushing off your left hand, raising your right arm back up towards the ceiling, rolling through the shoulder blade. And it's a stretch so nice, we got to do it twice. And then on the exhale, we're going to thread your right arm back underneath your left to bring your right ear back down towards the floor. And that left hand can be there to provide a little bit of support, but if you want to make the stretch a little bit deeper, you can put your palms together and press. Two more breaths here. Pushing off your left hand, raising your right arm back up towards the ceiling, rolling through the shoulder blade, and then coming back down onto all fours. Doing the same thing on the other side, so pushing your heart away from the floor, reaching your left arm up towards the ceiling, rolling through the shoulder blade, taking a deep breath, and then on the exhale, threading your left arm underneath your right, so your left ear finds the floor. And then just giving a little rock in the hips side to side. Kind of make that stretch a little bit deeper through the shoulder. Staying here for 1 more breath. And on the exhale, pushing off your right hand, raising your left arm back up towards the ceiling, rolling through the spine, taking a deep breath. And then again, threading that left arm underneath your right to bring your left ear back down towards the floor. Again, that right arm can kind of find support for your head there, or you can press your palms together to make the stretch a little bit deeper through the shoulder. Whenever you're ready, we're going to press off your right hand, raising your left arm back up towards the ceiling one last time, and then coming back down onto all fours. Bring your knees out to either side of the mat with your big toes touching. You're going to come all the way back into child's pose, walking your hands out in front of you and then tenting your hands. So you're pressing your fingertips into the mat to gently draw your bum down towards your heels. Taking 2 long, slow, deep breaths here. And then pressing your fingertips into the floor, we're going to curl under your toes to come to first downward dog of the class. And for the first downward dog, it can be a little bit organic, so you can pedal your heels, kind of roll your shoulders, wiggle your hips, kind of continue getting in touch with your body. Just let your head hang loose. And then slowly we're going to walk your feet towards your hands. So we all find ourselves into a nice, easy forward fold, letting your head and your arms relax. And then bending at the knees, scooping your tailbone underneath you, we're going to curl 1 vertebrae at a time all the way up to standing. So you roll your shoulders up to your ears and then over your back behind you. Inhale, raising both hands up over your head. Pretend like you're grabbing onto a big ball of joy. And kind of squeeze under it, and then sink your shoulder blades down and back away from you. Keeping your feet pressing firmly into the floor, we're going to bring the ball over to one side of the room. So you almost extend it, so you get that good stretch across your ribs into your hips. And then squeezing from that point where you feel the stretch to come back up, fold over in the opposite direction. One more time back up to center, opening up your heart to limitless possibilities that Wednesday has to offer. And then exhale to fold down into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen out through your spine, flattening your back. And then exhale, walking yourself out into your plank. And for the first chaturanga, we'll lower down knees, chest and chin, keeping your elbows tight into your sides until your belly is resting on the floor. And then raising your heart up off the mat as you press the tops of your feet into the floor for baby cobra. So hands could come off the mat here, but they're just to kind of give you a little bit of support. And then pushing up your hands and knees all the way back into your child's pose. And then curling under your toes to come into downward facing dog. This time holding the downward dog with a little bit more intention. So pushing your heels down to the floor behind you and the backs of your knees to the world behind you. Head is loose and relaxed. And then on an exhale, looking in between your hands, you can walk your feet forwards, back into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen through your spine, flattening your back. Exhale, fold down a little bit deeper. Inhale, coming all the way to standing, raising both hands up over your head. And exhale, hands down by your sides. And inhale, raising both hands up. Exhale to fold down into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen out through your spine. And then exhale, walk or jump back out into your plank and chaturanga. You can either do knees, chest, chin, or high to low push-up. Inhale into your baby cobra or upward facing dog. Whatever feels right for you. And then curl over your toes into your downward facing dog. And we hold here for about 5 long, slow, deep breaths. Looking between your hands, walk or jump forwards back into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen through your spine. Exhale, fold down a little bit deeper. And then inhale, coming all the way to standing. Raising both hands up over your head. And then exhale, hands down by your sides. One more time. Inhale, raising both hands up. Exhale to fold. Inhale to lengthen out through your spine. Exhale out into your plank and chaturanga. Inhale into your upward dog. And exhale into your downward dog. Cool. From here, we're going to take your right foot and press your right heel as high up to the ceiling as you can behind you. I'm going to open up at the hips. I'm just going to drop your left heel down towards your bum. Right heel down towards your bum. Kind of open up your right hip flexor. And then stepping your right foot through in between your hands for a low lunge. Pausing there for a moment, giving a little rock front and back. Stretch out your left hip flexor. And then keeping that back leg really strong and straight. So you're pushing your heel away from you as you're lengthening out through your spine. You're going to plant your left hand down on the floor and reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. And roll your right shoulder blade over the left. Inhale deeply and exhale completely. One more breath here. And then on the exhale, we'll bring your right hand back down to the floor. Dropping your back heel down to the mat at about a 45-degree angle. Lengthen through your spine and float all the way up into your warrior one. So drawing your right hip back and your left hip forwards, drawing that front knee forwards a little bit more. As you inhale, your pinkies are reaching up towards the ceiling, and then as you exhale, you kind of pull your shoulder blades back and pull your heart forwards. And opening up into your warrior two, reaching both hands out in either direction and pausing for a moment to see that the heel of your front foot is in line with the arch of your back foot, and then settling into your pose just a little bit deeper. And taking the gaze over the ring finger of your right hand. Dropping your back hand to your back leg for peaceful warrior, reaching your top arm over your head behind you as you drive your right knee forwards. That back hand can find support on your left thigh, or you can wrap your hand around your waist to find your right hip crease. On an exhale, we'll transition, bring your right elbow to your right knee, reaching your left arm over your head out in front of you. And if this feels good, you can stay right here. If you want to take a step further, we can slide that right hand down to your inside of your thigh to find the floor. And if you feel like going for the bind today, we'll bring your left arm around behind you to find your right hip crease and reach your right arm underneath to clasp your hands and then lengthen through your spine. Holding here for 2 more breaths. Slowly releasing to come out of it. And we'll bring both hands down either side of your front foot. Walk yourself out into your plank and chaturanga. High to low push-up, keeping your elbows tight into your sides. Inhale into your upward dog. And then exhale into your downward dog. Pausing for a moment just to kind of appreciate the difference from one side to the other after doing that little warrior sequence. And then raising your left heel all the way up behind you, pushing your left heel as high to the ceiling as you can, and then rolling open at the hips to drop your left heel down towards your bum. Stepping that left foot through in between your hands for a low lunge. Pausing there for a moment, giving a little rock front and back. Opening up your right hip flexor. And then keeping that back leg really strong, very straight. You'll plant your right hand into the mat. Lengthen out through your spine and reach your left arm up towards the ceiling, coming into a spinal twist. So as you exhale, you kind of open up just a little bit more. One more breath here. Then on the exhale, bring your left hand back down to the floor, dropping your back heel down to the mat, about a 45-degree angle. Lengthen out through your spine and float all the way up into your warrior one. Your right hip forwards and your left hip back. As you inhale, your spine gets taller. As you exhale, tuck your belly button into your spine and up towards your heart. Opening up into warrior two, reaching both hands out in either direction. And taking the gaze over the ring finger of your left hand. You'll be ready, dropping your back hand to your back thigh, reaching your top arm over your head behind you for peaceful warrior. And your right hand can find support on your leg, or you can wrap your hand around your lower back to find your left hip crease. On an exhale, bring your left elbow to your left knee, reaching your right arm up over your head towards the front of the room. And if you want to stay here, you can stay here. If you want to take a step further, we'll slide your left hand down to your inner thigh. And then reach your right arm around behind you if you want to go for the bind, to try and find that left hip crease. And reach your left arm underneath until you can clasp your hands and roll your right shoulder blade over the left. Lengthen out through your spine. Two more breaths here. As you come out of it, slowly bring both hands to frame your foot. In the front of the mat, walk yourself out into your plank and chaturanga, high to low push-up. Inhale into your upward dog and exhale into your downward dog. Looking in between your hands, walk or jump forwards back into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head, flattening your back. Exhale, fold down a little bit deeper. Inhale, come all the way to standing, raising both hands up over your head. Exhale, hands down by your sides. Cool. Letting your hands rest on your hips so you can find that hip crease, that little bone right there. And step your right foot back about 2 feet with a little space in between your feet, so like you're on a small railroad track. Inhale, lengthen through your spine, drawing your elbows back towards each other. And then exhale, folding over at the waist, down into intense leg stretch. So trying to keep your back as long and as straight as can be. Before eventually releasing your hands to come down to find support on your leg, or block if you have one, or the floor, and letting your head hang down heavy here. So see if you can lift your toes up off the mat, take in a deep breath, and then exhale, folding down a little bit deeper as you press your toes into the floor. Hold here for 2 more long, slow, deep breaths. Slowly transitioning all the weight into your front foot. You can walk your fingertips forwards until your back heel floats up into the air for needle pose. So squeezing from your right bum cheek to push that right heel as high up to the ceiling as you can. And trying to kiss your left kneecap. Raise the right heel up just a little bit higher, just a little bit longer. And then slowly lowering down your right foot behind the left so your pinky toes are touching. Inhale, lengthen out through your spine. And then exhale to fold down into your sciatic stretch. Again, just letting your head hang heavy. Your arms are loose, hanging heavy. And it's that weight of your upper body that initiates the stretch through your legs and lower back. Slowly sliding your hands up your legs until you interlace your fingers behind your back. And pulling your knuckles up to the ceiling and then over your head out in front of you to open up the shoulder girdle. And then leading with the heart to float all the way up to standing and pulling your knuckles down to the floor behind you. If you have any sparkles in your vision, you can wait for them to pass, so those sparkles are pretty cool. And we'll release your hands and draw your right foot up into tree pose. So tree pose can either be heel on your ankle, toe on the floor, arch of your foot on your calf, or heel all the way up into your inner thigh. Once you find your position, bring your hands into a prayer in front of your heart and focus your gaze on something that doesn't move. That's your drishti. As you inhale, you get a little bit taller with every breath, and as you exhale, tuck your belly button into your spine. Gradually opening up the branches of your tree and sinking your shoulder blades down away from your ears. And slowly we're going to drop your right hand down by your side. And we're going to find your right ankle. We're going to press your ankle into your hand and come into Lord of Dance. So folding over at the waist just a little bit. Bring your thumb and middle finger together. And slowly releasing to come out. Both hands come to the sky. And then everything comes back down to the sides. Take a second to pedal at your feet. Wiggle your hips. Shake your head. And then we'll find your hips. Stepping your left foot back behind you about 2 feet. Then inhale, lengthen through your spine, drawing your elbows back towards each other. Taking a breath, and then exhale to fold. Maintain that length in your spine as you fold down just about as deep as you can while keeping your back straight. And everyone's different. Once you get to the point where you can't go down any further, you can release your hips, curl over your spine to come all the way down into your intense leg stretch. Taking a deep breath, long exhale. Let's lift both toes up off the mat. Taking a deep breath, and then on the exhale, press your toes down into the floor. 2 more breaths here. Slowly transitioning all the way into your front foot. Walking your fingertips forwards, letting your back heel float up to the ceiling just as high as you can. Pushing that left heel up for needle pose. And trying to kiss your right kneecap. Raising your left leg up just a little bit higher, a little bit longer, a little bit stronger. And slowly lowering down, left foot behind the right until your pinky toes are touching. Inhale, lengthen through your spine, flattening your back, and then exhale, folding down into your sciatic stretch. And taking in those long, deep breaths, just kind of noticing where the air goes and how a deep breath can change the stretch in your legs. Slowly sliding your hands up your legs to interlace your fingers behind your back. You're going to pull your knuckles up to the ceiling and then over your head towards the front of the room to open up your shoulder girdle. And then leading with the heart to float all the way up to standing and pulling your knuckles down to the floor behind you. You can release your hands and we'll draw your left leg up into tree pose, finding whichever position feels right for you. Once you find your tree, bring your hands into a prayer in front of your heart. Focus your gaze on something that doesn't move. As you inhale, you get a little bit taller. As you exhale, tuck your belly button into your spine. Opening up the branches of your tree and sinking your shoulder blades down away from your ears. Slowly dropping your left hand down by your side until you can find that left ankle. And then pushing their ankle into your hand to come into Lord of Dance. So your thumb and your middle finger together. And then coming out of it, slowly, bringing both hands to the sky, and then everything comes down together. Beautiful. Get to the second pedal at your feet. Bring it back up. Inhale, raising both hands up over your head. And then exhale to fold down into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head, flattening your back. Exhale out into your plank and pausing at the high plank. Pushing out through the heels and the crown of your head, tucking belly button into your spine. And then rolling over your toes to come into your downward facing dog. Pushing both heels down to the floor behind you. Then raising your right foot all the way up to the ceiling. You're going to float your right knee to your right elbow, hovering above the ground for a moment. Send it straight back up behind you. Bring your right knee to your left elbow, crossing under your midline. Send it straight back up behind you. Bring your knee to your nose, try and kiss your kneecap. Send it straight back up behind you. And then folding your right leg through into pigeon pose. So your right knee is kind of behind your right wrist. Right ankle is kind of behind your left wrist. Now wiggle your left foot back so it's more or less center on the mat. Once you find your position, inhale, lengthen through your spine, and then exhale to walk yourself down. So let your forehead rest on either stacked hands, or a pillow if you have one nearby, or just on the floor. And we'll take the next few moments to breathe. Just think as you exhale, settling down just a little bit deeper into the floor. Slowly, whenever you're ready, walking yourself back up. Pausing for a moment at the top. Take a look over one shoulder, gentle spinal twist. Take a look over the other. And we'll curl under your back toes, making your way all the way back into your downward facing dog, taking your time to get there. Again, just kind of noticing the difference from one side to the other after doing that little pigeon. Raising your left foot all the way up behind you. You're going to float your left elbow to your left knee. Left knee to left elbow. So straight back up behind you. Left knee to your right elbow. Crossing into your midline. So straight back up. Bring your knee to your nose. Try and kiss your kneecap. Straight back up behind you. And then folding your left leg through into pigeon pose. So again, taking your time to kind of find that position, wiggling your right leg back behind you so it's more or less center on the mat. Once your hips are just about as close as you can get to the floor, inhale, lengthen through your spine, and then exhale, walking yourself out. Let your forehead rest on either stacked hands, or the floor, or a pillow. We'll take the next few moments to try and let your body be as heavy as it can be in this position. Hold here for 2 more breaths. Whenever you're ready, you're going to slowly walk yourself back up. Taking your time to get there. Take a look over one shoulder, gentle spinal twist. Take a look over your other. Coast is clear. So roll over onto your left butt cheek and bring your right leg around in front of you. You're kind of scooting yourself towards the front edge of your mat. And straighten out your legs. Moving the muscle out of the way until you can find those sits bones. You're going to push your heels away from you so the backs of your knees are pressing down into the mat. Inhale, raising both hands up over your head. And then exhale to fold, to birdcage your feet. And let your forehead drop down towards your knees. Inhale deeply and exhale completely. And as you exhale, just let your forehead drop down towards your knees a little bit closer. Two more breaths here. Long inhales and long exhales. Reaching out past your toes, floating all the way back up. And then exhale, hands down by your sides. We'll make your way into laying flat on your back on the mat. And then bending your knees and walking your heels towards your fingertips. Just about as close as you can until you can find those heels with your fingertips. And then pushing up your heels, raising your hips up towards the ceiling. If you have a block or a pillow, you can put it underneath your lower back here for a little bit of sacral release. What else? We're going to interlace our fingers and walk your elbows and your triceps towards each other. So you really kind of stack your whole body up on your arms. And squeezing from the butt and the hamstrings so your hips go up towards the ceiling. You're going to draw your knuckles down towards your heels. Holding here for 3 more breaths. And slowly releasing your arms, coming all the way back down. And hugging both knees into your chest. Give yourself a little rock side to side. Massaging the muscles of your lower back into the floor, maybe drawing a circle on the mat. And then straightening out your right leg along the floor, pushing your right heel away from you. With your right hand, we're going to pull your left knee across your body and reach your left arm out to the side for a spinal twist. We'll stay here for the next few breaths. Just trying to let your arm and leg be as heavy as they can be. We're going to be ready. We're going to slowly make your way onto your back, hugging both knees into your chest. Resettle. And we'll straighten out your left leg along the floor. And with your left hand, pulling your right knee across your body, and reaching your right arm out to the side. Holding here for 2 more breaths. Long exhales. And whenever you're ready, slowly making your way onto your back one last time. Putting both knees into your chest. Tucking your forehead up into your knee, making your body like a little bitty seed. And then straightening out your legs and arms for your Shavasana pose. And we'll take the next few moments to rest in stillness and silence as you take in the full effects of your yoga practice. And see if you can observe your body in the state of complete rest. And slowly wiggling your fingers and your toes to bring movement back into your body. At your own pace, you're going to draw your knees into your chest. Roll over onto your side and push yourself up into a comfortable sitting position. Your eyes closed, taking a few breaths, just observing the breath. And just noticing any changes that may have happened over the last hour. And then taking a moment to send out a message of love and peace and patience and understanding to everyone out there who could use it today. Inhale, raising both hands up over your head. Exhale, hands to do a prayer in front of your heart, and we'll close with a single heartfelt namaste. Namaste, everyone. Thank you all so much for practicing with me on Wednesdays.